Good day everyone and welcome to Slosh Mining. Hope everyone is doing well and staying safe. Compliments of the seasons to all. Hope you're having a blessed festive season. Today we're going to take a look at what hardware we currently have and what we actually been mining over the last week. So in our first server we've got 6 graphics cards. Slightly older cards. Starting from the first card, we've got an RTX 2070 Super, we've got an RX 5700 XT. Then moving on, we've got 3 GTX 1660 Supers, and the last card is a GTX 1070. Does use quite a bit of power at 130 watts, and mining Ethereum is about 24 to 25 megahash. I'm still deciding what to actually do with that card. Moving on to our second server, we've only got 5 cards, and these are pallet RTX 3060 Ti's, and these are the LHR cards. These are all 8 gig cards. Even if I had to get another card, there wouldn't be enough power to run that one card, so I'm quite happy with this one. And then our last few cards that we bought is the RTX 3060, the 12 gig version. We are currently just mining Ethereum at 33.5 megahash per second, and this is our new motherboard, CPU and memory. We are running an 850 watt power supply. We've got an AMD Ryzen 3900 CPU, and that's mining Raptorium at the moment. And we do have one stick of 16 gig memory. We do have this display from hashrate.co.za. The mining frame is from hashrate.co.za as well. I would probably start dual mining some crypto, so mining 2 different coins at the same time. And right at the bottom we've got a 4 gig card. It's an XFX RX 570, and that's a 4 gig card, so we can't mine Ethereum with that. I have been playing around with Ergo and Beam, but I'll get into that at a later stage. So let's get into our monitoring of our servers, what software we're actually using. All 3 servers are running on HIVEOS. So we do have a total of about 15 cards, including the 4 gig card at the end. Let's get into our monitoring and see what we've actually been running over the last 7 days. We currently have 3 servers on HIVEOS mining to our Nicehash account, and they're all mining Ethereum. I wanted to see what our profitability would be on Nicehash instead of mining Ethereum. So we're actually mining Ethereum into Bitcoin, or getting paid in Bitcoin. So with our first server, we've got the RTX 3060 Ti, and we've got 5 of those cards mining at 210 megahash on Ethereum. Then our second server, we've got an RTX 3060. We've got 4 of those cards, and each of them are mining at about 34, 33 megahash. And our last server, we have 6 graphics cards in total. This is a mix of graphics cards, starting with the RTX 2070 Super, mining at 44 megahash per second, and it's using about 116 watts. We currently have 3 GTX 1660 Supers. We've got an Asus, Pallet, and MSI. Now the Pallet does have Hynix memory, and we did a BIOS mod to get about 34.8 megahash, just under 35 megahash. It doesn't bring up the wattage in HIVEOS, but you can see it in the mining software, which we'll get to in a bit. Then we've got a Radeon RX 5700 XT mining at 53.5 megahash at 108 watts. And we'll get to the efficiency as well of these cards. And then we've got a GTX 1070 mining at 22 megahash at 125 watts. This used to do about 25. I see it's dropped a bit, but I also think it's because it's running a bit hot. Might need to change the thermal paste or the fans or the server's not getting enough airflow. But we'll take a look at that at a later stage. If you look at the core, we're using absolute core on all the NVIDIA cards. We're using 1350 on the 2070 Super. I think we can actually drop this down to about 1050 and see what our hash rate is. The GTX 1660 Supers, we've got an absolute core of 1050 on all three. And then I've put the GTX 1070 at 1350 to try and use the best efficiency, but I don't think it's running very efficient currently. So let's try and drop this down to about 1150 and see if we get a better efficiency on that and better hash rate. Dropping this core might actually drop the temperature as well. And we're using about probably just under 600 watts. It's not picking up the palette GTX 1660 Super. So it does seem a bit low, but it is missing the power consumption of one of the graphics cards. Let's get into what we're actually using to mine, what software we're actually using. Let's get into our server and see what we actually are achieving on these cards. On the RTX 2070 Super, we're getting about 44.6 megahash per second at 114 watts. Efficiency is at 391 kilohash per watt, which is actually not too bad. Anything between 400 and 500 is pretty good. So we're getting 395.2 kilohash per watt. The Asus GTX 1660 Super, we're getting just over 30 megahash per second at 81 watts and an efficiency of 373. Our RX 5700 XT, we're getting 53.5 megahash per second at 107 watts, and we're getting about 500 kilohash per watt, which is actually good. These are actually one of the best cards, but unfortunately they don't sell it anymore. They're really good at mining Ethereum and very efficient. The 1070, we're getting about 22.3 megahash per second at 124 watts. It would probably be better to put it on a different algorithm, but it's getting 180 efficiency. The Palette 1616 Super, we're getting 34.8 megahash per second at 84 watts, which has an efficiency of 414, which is great. The MSI seems to be doing a bit better when it comes to hash rate versus the power consumption. We're getting just over 30 megahash per second at 72 watts, and we have an efficiency of 420 kilohash per watt. So this is our one server. Our 6 cards is generating about 215 megahash per second at 580 watts. And these are just the graphics cards, not the full system. And our average efficiency is at 372 kilohash per watt. Let's get onto our other server and see what we're actually achieving. And we can actually compare these numbers to the newer cards that we've got, which is the RTX 3060 Ti, and it is LHR. And then we've got the RTX 3060 12 gig version. Looking a bit closer at the RTX 3060 Ti LHR cards, we're averaging about 43, well, if you look at the hash rate, it's from 38 to about 44 megahash per second. And you'll notice that we've got 3 Hynix cards, the first 2 and the last one. And then we've got 2 Samsung cards. Now the Samsung cards actually uses way less electricity than the Hynix cards, and they actually perform a lot better. I see the one is actually running at 41 megahash. It was running at 44, but okay, I'll take a closer look at that. So
I'm using an absolute core of 1350 on each card, and the memory does differ. The second card, I'm unable to add much overclock on the memory on this card, so we added 1000 in HIVEOS. If we had to overclock in Windows, that would have been about 500. It is using quite a bit of electricity for 38 megahash, which is really bad. But as we can see, the two Samsung cards, they're using about 118 watts. And the overclocks on the memory is 2400. In Windows, that would be 1200. And then our last card, we're getting about 42 megahash per second at 147 watts. So this is really luck of the draw. These two cards, these two Samsung cards, were the first two cards I ordered. And when I ordered another three, I got the Hynix card. So luck of the draw, I guess. This server is generating about 210 megahash per second, and we're using about 658 watts. But let's take a closer look at the mining software. We are using Gminer on all of our servers. We're mining to our Nicehash Bitcoin wallet. Let's log into our RTX 3060 Ti LHR server. So to get a closer look at the efficiency of these cards and our Frankenstein server, these hash rates are not really good compared to those other hash rates. The two Samsung cards are doing pretty well, but the Hynix cards are averaging probably about 300 kilo hash per watt. So we're getting 138, 129, 123, 122, 136 watts per card, which is not bad, but these cards should be mining a lot better than this. If we look at the LHR on these cards, we're actually using about 73 up to about 74.5% of the card to mine with, which is not too bad. Would be great to actually mine 100%, but it's better than 70% of the card, right? So that's the RTX 3060 Ti LHR server. Let's take a closer look at our RTX 3060 12 gig cards. Okay, so these cards seem to be quite efficient when it comes to power versus hash rate. We are using an overclock of 2700 on the memory, and we're using absolute core of 1350 on each card. We are getting about 34, just under 34 megahash per second. For some reason, this card is a bit lower, but we are using about 90, just under 100 watts per card. If we had to change the core to 100, the server actually uses about 300 watts more if we don't use absolute core. So the hash rates on these cards and the power consumption is not actually too bad. Let's take a look at the efficiency of the server. Let's log in quickly. You'll notice that the efficiency is actually as good as the RTX 3060 Ti LHR cards, but the Samsung memory, it actually does the same efficiency as those cards, so it's not too bad. We're using about 367 watts on the cards alone, not the full server, and we are getting above 73% of the hash rate of these cards, which is not too bad either. The total server hash rate is at 132 megahash per second, or 134 megahash per second at 368 watts. And we're getting an average efficiency of 364 kilohash per watt. Let's take a closer look at Nicehash, where we can pick up all three servers and see what they're actually generating on a daily basis. The reason I'm going through all of these cards as well, I want to try and mine something different with these RTX 3060 12 gig cards. I have tried to dual mine on HIVEOS, but the hash rates are way too low to actually run, so we might need to run them on Windows and see what hash rate we actually get. But let's do this quickly. Let's get into our Nicehash account and see what our servers are generating. Looking a little closer at Nicehash, we'll notice that we've got 3 servers. And if we go to our rig manager, you'll actually see the 3 servers over here. So we've got our Frankenstein server. Those are 6 graphics cards and they're all different. Let's see if we can actually get some details. No, I don't think we can. Yeah. So that Frankenstein server is actually generating about 200 Rand per day. Let's just take a look. We tried to move the server to a different algorithm just on the 28th and the 24th, so it was off for a while. But if you look at the last 24 hours, we're generating about 200 Rand per day or 26,000 Satoshis per day. If we go back to Rig Manager, we've got our 5 RTX 3060 Ti cards mining Ethereum, and we're generating about 33,000 Satoshis a day, which is about 250 Rand every 24 hours. Our 4 RTX 3060 12 gig cards are generating, that's actually quite wrong, but yeah, they do generate just over 100 Rand per day as well. And if you add all of them up, our current profitability, you're looking at about 562 Rand a day. Let me change it to USD so that you've got more of an idea of what the server is generating, and then compare it with what to mine to see if we're more or less on par. So at the moment we are, yeah, that seems a bit low over there, but okay. We're generating about $37 a day with all 3 servers, and we are getting about 550 mega hash mining Ethereum, which is not actually bad. $37 a day. If we go to our history and stats, this won't be very accurate because the servers were off yesterday trying to find the right algorithm, but as you can see, I've actually moved them back to Nicehash to mine into Bitcoin. If we go further down, we can see our average from the 21st. We're looking at $29, $32, $31, $28, $32, $31, and $30. That was our 1 week average. So let's take a look quickly. We, at the moment, our current profitability is $36. We're looking at $252 a week, $1,000 a month, and just over 13,000 a year. But as we know, we won't be mining Ethereum for the next year because of ETH version 2. And in rands, if you look a bit closer, we are generating about 472, 523, 500, 451, 500, 500, 491. That's what we're actually earning on a daily basis, and in South Africa, that is actually quite decent. And then if we look at the Rand value, if we were able to mine Ethereum over the next year, we're looking at earning 23% of a Bitcoin if we could mine Ethereum for the next year into Bitcoin. And that is Nicehash. So it's actually nice to see that what you're actually earning every 4 hours. And if I'm not mistaken, if we look at our income, it does a payout every 4 hours. So we were actually generating about 87. We were averaging about 80 to 90 Rand every 4 hours. And that's a great little income. For passive income, that is great. So all my servers are back on Nicehash, mining Ethereum, and we're earning plus minus 500 Rand a day. So if you're a beginner, Nicehash is quite a good software to get started. Nicehash is actually a profit switching, so it will mine the most profitable coin and pay out in Bitcoin. Withdrawing from Nicehash is just as easy. It's under your wallet. All you have to do is select withdraw. Select where you want to withdraw to. So you can add a wallet or exchange and withdraw, and it's actually a lot cheaper to transfer Bitcoin than Ethereum. In Nicehash as well, you can change your Bitcoin to other cryptocurrencies or altcoins. You can trade, convert, deposit, and withdraw. So you could withdraw from here as well. So the reason I'm actually mining from HIVEOS to Nicehash is that the overclocks for these graphics cards can be managed a lot easier. You don't have crashes like you do on Windows, and it runs a lot more stable. I think it actually uses a lot less power as well. But those are my 3 servers. We've got about 16 cards in total, and I'm actually looking at putting all these cards into one server. We do have the Asus Mining Expert motherboard that takes 21 graphics cards, so I'm definitely going to try and add all these cards to one server, seeing that we're mining Ethereum. And we might actually be saving a bit on power as well, but that I'll do at a later stage. But those are my servers. Please leave your comments down below if you have any other suggestions on what software you're actually running, and are you mining Ethereum directly? Let me know down in the comments below. I would love to hear from you guys. So my next video, I would really like to dual mine with these RTX 3060 cards. Hopefully mine some Raven coin before the halvening and mine Ethereum. And I also want to try and put all the cards into one mining server and see what our power consumption is. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell to stay up to date with upcoming videos. Our goal was to get to about 10,000 subs by the end of this year. Well, there's always next year. But please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell to stay up to date with upcoming videos. Thank you for watching. Catch you on the next video. Ciao for now.